Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to wax your furniture or your project when you're done. We talked a lot about chalk paint and I have a video that you can watch there to see how to make your own homemade chalky type paint. But this is really the finishing touch, and a lot of people ask me questions about how to do it, and I'm going to show you the way that I do it, both with a clear wax and an antique wax. So watch and see. Alright, so this piece of furniture has already been completely painted with my homemade chalky paint recipe. I've also distressed it a little, which is completely up to you if you want to distress or not. So make sure you've done all your sanding and finished. A lot of times when you finish the first coat of chalky paint, you'll want to sand a little bit in between coats and then put your second coat if you need to, and then come back and do your final distressing. So that's already been done on this piece. So now we're going to do soft wax. This is kind of a paste type wax. You can see I use Annie Sloan's, but there's a lot of good ones on the market. This is just what I have and what I have to show you guys today. And then your brush. You don't have to use a brush like this, but this round brush to me works the best for this application. So you may look for one like this. And then the key to waxing is people use more wax than they need. This jar of wax should last you a really long time. So look, I just basically dab in here, and I'm going to try to show you guys there's not a ton of wax on my brush, okay? So just a little bit like that, and then you're just going to do this. I go back and forth, kind of side to side, and you're going to just do one section at a time, just fanning it out. And if you happen to kind of glance down at an angle, you're able to see that you have full coverage with just that little bit of wax. And then after you do a section, you're going to buff it. When you start buffing, you're going to feel that it's a little bit tacky. Your clean, soft rag just wants to catch a little bit. So just buff until it doesn't do that anymore. It doesn't take much. And then you just move on to your next section through all your pieces. This brush helps you get into the grooves of deep legs and crevices and things like that, and then just come back and buff it. It's that easy to do your final wax. And this is going to give you kind of a matte finish over that chalky finish, and to me it just makes the difference of a piece looking professionally finished and something that you just did at home yourself. So now I'm going to show you how to add an antique look to your furniture. Okay, I have this stool that I want to add an antique finish to, and that just means I want to darken up the edges where I have distressed this stool to make it a little more worn and used and add some character and age to it. And it's completely up to you how you finish your furniture, but this is just an added extra step. So what I'm going to do is start by waxing it the same way with the clear wax first, like I showed you guys, just a little on my brush. And I'm going to do this the same way, just piece by piece. I'll do like one leg at a time, just going up and down, making sure I get in the cracks and crevices. And the reason we're going to do the clear wax first is because it helps the antique wax to go on smoother. It's a personal preference. I have put antique wax, the dark wax, on things before without doing the clear wax first. It works, but sometimes it'll look a little bit, I don't know, maybe muddier or messier than if you do the clear wax first. It helps the dark to go on smoother. And I also, even this stool has a stained top. I'm going to wax that. I won't antique it, but I just put a little finish on it. It helps seal it. It helps, like I said before, just give it a finished look. So don't forget that you can use this on stained furniture as well if you're restaining a piece. So the two tricks you need to know about dark wax. Here's my can of dark wax. Again, it's an Annie Sloan dark wax. There's other good ones on the market. This is just what I have. I've had this jar for years and years because you use so little when you do this antiquing. Often what I do is when I take the lid off, if there's a little on the lid, I use that as my palette because I'm just going to get a little bit. A lot of times I just get a little bit on the edge of my brush. You can see. And then I'm just going to lightly run it down the places I want a little darker. Those corners that you want to be aged and distressed. And one of the best things I can tell you about aging a piece like this is to think of its story. So on a stool, where is it going to be used and touched the most over time? It's going to be here where you pick it up. It's going to be on the brackets where your feet touch and things like that. So You just want to follow the story of the piece of furniture. If it's a dresser, it might be around the handles that are going to be a little bit darker, and the edges and the bottoms of pieces, and that just gives a more authentic look to your piece. So that's kind of one way to do it, is just to rub it with the cloth. But the best way, I'm going to show you 2 ways, is to take steel wool. So I have this steel wool, super fine steel wool, and I'm just taking a piece of it off. And then when I add that little bit of dark to the edge, and this is when you're doing big dressers and stuff, you really want to use the steel wool. It makes a big difference. You just take it and you rub it. It helps get that darker wax into the cracks and crevices of the paint. It just smooths it out in a more natural way. And then you want to go back with a clean rag and buff it. And that is how simple it is to add an antique look with wax to your furniture. Obviously, you're going to do it in portions and pieces and just go through. If you want to do the whole thing waxed and clear first and then come back and add your accents, that's how I usually operate. But I use the same brush once I'm done with the clear wax as this. And then to clean your brush, you just want to put hot soapy water and rinse it all out, and probably sooner than later so the wax doesn't dry. This wax will cure over a few weeks and get a little bit more permanent seal to it. So anytime you're painting your own furniture, you really want to be careful with it for the first 3 to 4 weeks to let the paint cure and the wax or whatever finish you put on it cure. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks, guys.